Welcome to the Daily Roasting News, where the news is roasted, toasted, and served with a side of authoritarian absurdity. And today, oh boy, America has done it again, because what's more American than arresting a journalist for covering a protest? Apple pie? Nope. Freedom? Only if it's the government's kind. Today's headlines: Salvadoran journalist still held by ICE weeks after covering anti-Trump protests. Yes, still held, because apparently free press now comes with an asterisk and a deportation notice. Let's start with the basics. Mario Guevara, who is 47 years old, is an Emmy Award-winning journalist with more Facebook followers than your favorite congressman. Over 780,000 to be exact. But numbers don't matter when you are a Latino journalist covering protests against the orange deity of Margaland. On June 14, Guevara was doing what journalists do, filming a peaceful No Kings protest in Georgia. A protest, by the way, against the growing authoritarian vibes coming out of the Trump administration. But irony gave you he's now a federal policy. Wearing a carry-marked press vest, Guevara was live streaming the scene when police suddenly decided the First Amendment was optional that day. Caught on body cam, one officer jogs up and grabs him without warning, because apparently standing on a sidewalk holding a camera is malnational for it. Guevara can be heard calmly saying, "I am a member of the media, officer." But that must have been code for "send me to ICE," because the next thing we know, he is in a detention facility and he hasn't seen freedom since. And here's where it gets truly Orwellian. And judge literally said, "Let him go." A $7,500 bond was approved on July 5th. But while his family scrambled to pay it, another sheriff's department popped out of the woodwork with French misdemeanor charges for something that allegedly happened weeks before the protests. Convenient timing, wouldn't you say? These charges were magically dropped, but not before ICE could swoop in a day and toss him into the nearest migrant meat freezer, also known as the Folkestone ICE Processing Center, a charming private facility known more for lawsuits than hospitality. Guevara has since been transferred 5 times across multiple Georgia counties, because when you are a brown journalist with a camera and a spine, that's what they do. Shuffle you like a hot potato until the trail gets cold and the public gets bored. But guess what? We are not bored. We are furious, because this isn't about traffic violations. This is about punishing dissent. Guevara has been exposing ramped-up immigration crackdowns in the very communities Trump's America loves to call dangerous. And surprise, surprise, the moment he feels a protest against the very system he has been documenting, he is smacked off the split and tossed into legal purgatory. Now, let's spice it up. Guess who has been dead silent? El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele, Trump's favorite coup dictator, and now America's partner in deporting migrants straight into Salvadoran hell holes. Guevara has begged Bukele to intervene, but no dice. The only thing cooler than Bukele's Twitter feed is his icy silence when one of his own is locked up for journalism in the land of free. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security insists Guevara is in the country illegally. Funny, because since 2012, the U.S. government has been renewing his work permits, administratively closed his case, and let him operate as a legal journalist. Oh, and his son just turned 21, which under U.S. immigration law makes Guevara eligible for permanent residence. But no, now all of a sudden is public enemy number one. And what do press freedom groups have to say? The Committee to Protect Journalists slammed ICE for ignoring court orders and keeping Guevara locked up like a threat to national security. Let's be honest, if a journalist is the scariest thing in the room, maybe your democracy is already on life support. And speaking of dying democracies, let's zoom out for a second. If this had happened in Cuba or Venezuela, US politicians would be frothing at the mouth, screaming about tyranny and demanding sanctions. But when it happens in Georgia, and Action 2.0, it's just Tuesday. So, where does that leave us? With a journalist in jail, a president silent, ICE playing political whack-a-mole, and a justice system that's apparently allergic to its own rulings. Or because a Latino reporter dared to show up at the Rome protest with the right camera. Welcome to New America, folks, where covering the news is the crime and asking for your rights makes you eligible for deportation. If you've got a press vest, you better start sewing in some body armor too. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about Mario Guevara. It's about every journalist, every activist, every citizen who believes the First Amendment is still worth the paper it's written on. Because if they can do this to an Emmy-winning journalist, we can have 1 million followers. Imagine what they can do to you. If you are watching this and thinking this can be Leo, congratulations, you are awake. Now, stay awake, because the only thing scarier than a dictatorship is one that pretends to be a democracy. This was your daily roast for today, when we call out the hypocrisy, touch the gaslighting, and shine a flashlight into the cages of the so-called freedom. If you are still breathing and still mad, slam that subscribe button, keep the bell like its eyes front door, and share this with someone who still believes America is a free country. Because Katie big news to the memo. See you next time. Until then, keep roasting and keep with this day.